All right, to bring you more now on this breaking news, you can see bottom of your screen here in eNCA. It's got to do with Hlaudi Motsoeneng. He's not going to be keeping the millions that he walked away with from the SABC. To be more specific, 11.5 million rand. But there's more money involved in that. Let's find out why as we bring in to the discussion Special Investigating Unit spokesperson Kaizer Kganyago, not Kaizer Motsoeneng, as I called you. I don't know why I'd be speaking to a football team about Hlaudi Motsoeneng. Sorry about that, Kaizer. So just remind viewers, if you can, before we get to the nitty-gritty of this, how did we get to this point? It's a lot of money, but it's also quite a few years ago. So I think some of us have forgotten what this is actually about.
Thank you very much, Gareth. What happened is that in 2017, the Special Investigating Unit was given a proclamation by the President. The President signed it, and that is Proclamation R29 of 2017, where we're investigating the affairs of the SABC. And the matter, we found that this matter of the payment of the money to Mr. Motsoeneng was irregular, and then we then took it to court, to the High Court, to be set aside. Therefore, the matter has been pending in the High Court for a while, and on the 15th, which was on Wednesday, we then got a judgment, a very comprehensive judgment, where it says that he must pay back that money to the SABC.
It's not too long ago, I want to say probably less than a year now, where Hlaudi Motsoeneng was also ordered to pay back 850,000 rand for legal fees as well. So it seems like Mr. Motsoeneng is having to pay back a lot of money to his former employer. What happens, Kaizer, if he doesn't have the cash?
Yes, in terms of the judgment that we have done together with the SABC, the judgment is very clear that if he is not able to pay, because the judgment wants him to pay that 11.5 million plus in 7 days. Therefore, if he is unable to pay, the court has ordered the SABC pension fund to pay the money that they are holding on his behalf. You remember that money had been kept there for a while, and then if he's still unable to pay, therefore other means have to be looked into to recover all the money that is due to be recovered.
Are we expecting an appeal of some kind from the Motsoeneng camp?
I don't know. That is always a possibility as far as the law of this country is concerned. But from where we are sitting as the SIU, it is the issue that our head of SIU, Advocate Muti, has always been saying that for us is the issue of consequence management. And at the end, if it has got to go all the way legally, it has to go all the way legally. But the judgment has been done, and it took a long time for this matter to be finalized in the High Court, and we are relieved that finally it has been finalized.
Obviously, the focus at the moment is Hlaudi Motsoeneng himself, Kaizer, but let's not forget as well that it doesn't look good for the SABC board back in the day as well, because this judgment also saying that it's been reviewed, it's been set aside, but it was declared unlawful and invalid. There are going to be questions to be asked about the SABC as well as the SABC and its board in this. Is that part of your scope? Are you mandated to talk about how the SABC ended up with this decision that they got so horribly wrong?
Yeah, obviously, when we did our investigation, it was very clear that there is no policy in the organization to allow for that. And therefore, we had to go and present that before a judge. And the judge was able to agree with us clearly to say this was unlawful. And it obviously, people would want to know from the former board members, how did they come to such kind of a decision at the time, especially at that time in the organization where the organization was suffering.
So I suppose many people would say that this is just one step further as well, with the SABC being held accountable to decisions it's made. It is sad, though, that the SIU had to go all the way to court to force them how wrong they got this. But I suppose this is exactly why agencies like the SIU and yourselves actually exist, to hold them accountable, isn't it?
No, definitely. The minute there is indication, I think the board that came after approached us and said, we need to get to the bottom of it. And we obliged, and we applied for a proclamation from the president, and then that is what really happened, and that's why we are at this point now.
I understand that apart from the 11.5 million rand plus interest, that has to be paid back from September 2016 till now. Mr. Motsoeneng is also going to be held liable for the costs for 2 legal counsel. I'm curious, Kaizer, does that come out of the pension fund money if it goes that route, or does he have to pay for his legal counsel out of his own pocket?
Yes, if you look at this thing, the amount that was paid to him was just over 11.5 million. And they're still going to add the 15.5% interest from 2016. And then over and above that, then he has got to pay the cost for this litigation for 2 counsel. Therefore, all of those monies have to be added onto the 11.5 million that we're talking about.
And so that money is currently in the pension at the moment as well. Is there not a concern that this is going to affect that pension fund? It's a big whack of money to be taken out if Mr. Motsoeneng can't pay.
Yeah, but it's not the pension fund that has got to pay it. They will be paying what was supposed to be due to him. If, for example, in the pension fund he has got 5 million rand, that will then have to be paid to this amount, and what remains still has to be claimed from him.